Hey guys, welcome back to Brad's Greenhouse. In this video, we are actually working in the house and I am going to talk to you about the best Hoya houseplants. So Hoyas have become very popular in the last few years. Many new species have entered the scene. Not all Hoyas are created equal, especially when it comes to houseplants. Some of them are actually very hard to grow. I enjoy growing them purely for the challenge because some of them are so hard to grow these days. But that video is not this video. This video is about the best Hoya houseplants and the easiest Hoyas to grow. Now this one in front of us, this one is going to be one you guys will probably recognize. This is a Hoya Carnosa. This is a variegated form called Crimson Queen. And it's nice. It has some nice variegated leaves. Some leaves aren't so variegated. And other leaves, if we look around here, they come out like it's all white. The white ones are pretty, but they don't have any chlorophyll to actually photosynthesize themselves. So they're kind of, they're pretty, but they're just ornamental. You can never cut that off. But yeah, these guys grow indoors so easily. And the nice thing about them is they do come in a plain green. They come in this variegated here. And I'm going to show you an assortment of other Hoya Carnosas that are all great for growing in the house. This is Crimson Princess. Nice red on the leaves, pink stems. Beautiful plant, very hardy, very easy to grow. And I'll get to the actual growing, the care in just a few minutes. Next, I did grab a couple out of the greenhouse because these guys, so they're going to look a little different. That's why they're sitting in this tray. This one here is Hoya Crinkle 8. Now, it's nice. I just have a plain one. It's got a bit smaller leaves to it. And the leaves all have sort of indents in. I want to say there's 8 indents, Crinkle 8, but I believe there's actually like 6. Nice plant though. I've had it for a while. They become quite nice and woody. This variety is much slower growing than the first two that I showed you. It tends to be a lot more, what would be the word here? Thick and succulent-like. The last one is going to be the thickest of them all. And this one here is Hoya Compacta. And again, it makes a great houseplant. I do grow it in the greenhouse, but the leaves on this guy here are very crinkly. Let me look at this guy. This does come in a variegated form as well, and an alba marginata form. But I have the green one in front of me. The other forms are in the greenhouse. I do have them. But this one I chose today for this video because it is easy. I find the variegated form of the Compacta can be a little bit tricky for people. So anyways, that's the 4 varieties that I would suggest of Hoya Carnosa. They all make good houseplants. Why do they make good houseplants? Well, let's swing back to this guy just because he's kind of front and center and fairly big. Like I touched base, they do have fairly thick succulent leaves and they're very, very drought tolerant. Some Hoyas love to go bone dry. Other Hoyas never like to dry out completely at all. But we're talking about Hoya Carnosa here as a houseplant, and it just loves average household water. As long as you're not super heavy-handed, this one is going to be happy. Now, this guy over here, he's a little bigger, and I grow him in the house, and I have for years. He's a little bigger though. And what I do find is I'm a little bit careless sometimes, and I let him go bone dry. He's light to the touch sometimes. And you know what? He is okay. These guys can go for weeks, seemingly, when well rooted, in a fairly dry pot. Then I give him a splash of water. Today he actually got a little bit more care. I took him to the shower and gave him a little, get the dust off the leaves and everything like that. But very, very water tolerant. Now if you are heavy-handed at watering, you're best to go a little bit on the light side. You'd rather have a little less water than a little more water, especially when they're getting established or new, because they can have root rot. Not a huge issue for Hoya Carnosas, but for some Hoyas. The other great thing about these guys is they take little to no fertilizer. You can fertilize them, but they take little to no fertilizer. I use a pelleted slow release, and that's about all I'm going to touch base for on fertilizer. As for humidity, doesn't seem to matter too much. They grow in household conditions as well as in greenhouse conditions, and I have no issues with humidity with these guys. So that is a nice bonus for Hoya Carnosa. And one of the last things here is I do grow them in a fairly sunny window, and they can take some direct sun fairly good as long as they're used to it. I shelter them from noonday sun. In the summertime, I have another building in front of this window and it blocks all the hot sun. It gets morning sun and then afternoon sun again, but it blocks all the hot sun. So, but as for like these guys, this is again where you can think back to your grandma's Hoya that you didn't know the name of and it grew like crazy way off in the kitchen or the dining room, far away from a window. And that is these guys. These guys take basically, they can survive in basically no light whatsoever. So they can be back from a window 10 feet and they will still do fine and never have any kind of direct sunlight at all and still be fine. They may not bloom for you, but they're not going to die for you. And as just general houseplant care, that's about all we're looking for in this video. Blooming Hoyas is a totally different video. But yeah, so there we have it. Hoya Carnosa and several of its forms make great houseplants. We talked about the watering a little bit. We talked about fertilizing a little bit. We talked about the humidity or lack thereof. And we talked about light conditions. The one last thing, this one's fairly recently potted. I'm just going to show you the media. They do like a fairly rough media. I've got some extra perlite and bark in this media just to keep it a little bit airy. They don't want a soggy clay mix. They want something that has some good aeration to it. But anyways, I hope you liked this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye guys.